This year's Busch Series battle for supremacy has seen reigning titleist Dale Earnhardt Jr. withstand gallant charges from numerous series regulars. Matt Kenseth has climbed to within a point of the top. Teammates Jeff Green and Jason Keller are closing quickly. But today, they will all feel the heat from a host of Winston Cup stars, as names like Mark Martin, Jeff Burton, Schrader, Green, LePage, and Labonte join three-time champion Jeff Gordon in this Busch Series battle at Brookland, Michigan. 43 drivers representing the best of Busch and the best of Winston Cup are poised to pounce for 200 miles, 100 laps today at Michigan Speedway. After 22 Busch Series events in 1999, well, the points, they're a veritable toss-up. 1 point separates Earnhardt Jr., last year's defending champion, from challenger Matt Kenseth, and Jeff Green is closing in a hurry. Now, that's the big picture, but the picture today, well, has been complicated somewhat by the fact that 19 Winston Cup regulars are in today's field. With more, here's Bill Weber.
Well, Jerry, don't let anybody fool you. This is not a Busch race. This is a Winston Cup race in Busch cars. In 4 of the last 7 seasons, the Busch Series championship has been decided by 48 points or less. In 1992, Joe Nemechek won the championship by 3 points over Bobby Labonte. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Matt Kenseth have been the dominant drivers and the dominant stories this season. High-profile stars in a high-paced world that picks up speed with time. But right now, they must put the future behind them and focus on one game, one goal, and one another. But there are 2 more guys that hope to keep pace in the points. Sturdy Jeff Green has used focus, finesse, strength, and speed to quarterback an end run, making up for lost time in 1 missed race. And the rebirth of Jason Keller has brought a 4th horseman to the gridiron. This is not two-hand touch. Today, it's full tackle football, waiting to see who scores the most points and who fumbles. Ray Dunlap?
Bill, it's always fun to watch college football players make the move up to the NFL. It's an awfully tough job to do. But one driver will have that same kind of an action next year. That's Dave Blaney as he moves from the Busch Series up to the Winston Cup Series. Is he ready? I think so. This team very well may be the most improved in 1999. One most impressive stat for Dave Blaney is that today is only his 51st stock car race of any kind. His foray into Winston Cup would be greatly complemented with a Busch Series victory. He hopes to get it today. It's going to be awfully difficult, though, as you said, with those 19 other Winston Cup regulars in this field. Guys like Gordon, Marlin, and Spencer are tough to beat, but they're even going to have a tougher time beating the Roush cars. Jeff Burton dominated this race 1 year ago, and he's finished in the top 10 in all 8 Busch races this year. Mark Martin is the only driver to have won twice here at Michigan, and he's a 4-time winner in 1999. Folks, if there's not a Roush car in victory lane today, I'll be very surprised.
And McGuire and Sosa would like to have the batting average that Mark Martin has in Busch Series competition. 4 wins and 8 starts. Yeah, he's batting 500 here thus far. ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, presents Nascar. Today live from the picturesque Michigan Speedway. It's the Busch Series Grand National Division 8th Annual Napa 200. Take a look at this crowd they have on hand today to watch these cars and drivers compete. They are anticipating a record crowd for Saturday competition to see the best of Busch and the best of Winston Cup. When we come back, we'll visit with Benny Parsons. He's back, and of course, Kyle Petty along with me. Stay with us, back in just a moment.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, to get them fired up, here from Napa is John Stellema.
Thank you. It's a beautiful day for racing, and it's a great day for Napa. On behalf of the 6,000 Napa parts stores across the nation, gentlemen, start your engines.
Command, the field of 43 is roared to life. We told you it's the best of Busch and the best of Winston Cup. This possibly the best Busch race we will see all year long. 60 cars came here to qualify, but only 43 will fill up our Suzuki starting grid as Dave Blaney picks up his 4th pole and 3rd track record in 1999, flanked by Winston Cup veteran Sterling Marlin. What about our reigning Busch Series champion. There's Earnhardt Jr. alongside the pole sitter for tomorrow's NASCAR Winston Cup event, Ward Burton. And now you begin to see guys, Kyle Petty and Benny Parsons, where the Winston Cup drivers have had an impact in qualifying. 14 are in the top 25.
It's so difficult for the NASCAR Busch Series drivers to compete with NASCAR Winston Cup drivers because the Cup drivers do this every day. They run 180 miles per hour every week, side by side. It's just the experience level and the cars, the crew members, the crew chief on the Busch cars that have Winston Cup ties really truly have a better car, have a better feel for these racetracks than some of the Busch teams.
And Kyle Petty, on the other hand, guys like Matt Kenseth and Dale Earnhardt Jr., who will run Winston Cup tomorrow, can possibly get some help today.
Yeah, they're going to learn a lot. I think Dale Earnhardt Jr., if you remember back a couple of years when he ran his first race up here, he followed the Winston Cup guys nose to tail. He learned a ton. As we go through this field and you look at some of the rookies and you look at some of those guys like Kenseth and like Dale Earnhardt Jr. who are racing with Winston Cup guys, they are Winston Cup guys now. They're not Busch guys anymore. They're moving on. But these other younger guys like Kevin Grubb and Bobby Hamilton Jr., some of those guys, they're going to learn from these Winston Cup guys.
And you'll notice Matt Kenseth, 1 point back in the standings, will start 30th today outside of row 15. 21 of these cars starting today in the 43-car field. 21 of these drivers, I should say, will actually race in the Pepsi 400 here on Sunday. Provisional starters. That should tell the story because these guys are high in the point standings. And what that means is that 4 drivers in the top 20 in Busch Series points did not even make the field here. That's how competitive it was and the impact of the NASCAR Winston Cup drivers. Take a look at the drivers who have missed the field. There are 17 of them, and there are the names. Andy Santerre had a little help from Ricky Craven trying to qualify his car. They couldn't get the car up to speed. And as the cars roll off, we will get set for racing 200 laps, or 200 miles, 100 laps. $664,228 up for grabs in the 8th annual Napa 200 when we come back. Our ESPN coverage of NASCAR Busch Series action today from Michigan Speedway is being brought to you by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. Take a look at our race analysis today. We told you it is the 8th running of the Napa 200. They will compete for 100 laps on this 2-mile D-shaped oval, 200 miles. The purse, just over $664,000. The pit window, fuel. In years past, they could make it on one pit stop, coming in as early as lap 33 to 35. And the race record, Mark Martin, back in 1995. Although this race was run a year ago without a caution flag. We'll have 8 onboard cameras riding today, so Benny Parsons, we start at the very rear of the field.
Steve Grissom, the Air Jamaica Vacations, will start 43rd. Mike Skinner, the Yellow Freight onboard camera, starts in 36th position. And Rich Bickle welcomes a new sponsor, Aquavelva, in 35th spot. Kenny Irwin with the Brett Favre automobile. Rayovac starts 23rd. Shane Hall, the CT Farm and Country, will start 14th outside the 7th row. And Randy LaJoy, Bob Evans Family Restaurant, starts in 7th position. And Mark Martin, as usual, carries our Winn-Dixie onboard camera. He'll start 5th this afternoon. And leading down to the green flag will be Dave Blaney on the pole, the Amoco onboard camera.
And let me say, it is good to have you back, BP. Benny Parsons back from eye surgery and had to miss last week at Watkins Glen. Good to have you back. I know you're playing with one eye here today, so we appreciate you playing hurt. Talk about double-dipping Cup drivers, 19 in the field. Take a look at where they're starting today. Sterling Marlin, Ward Burton, who is the pole sitter for tomorrow's Pepsi 400. There are the list of some of the Winston Cup notables, and page 2 shows you that Kenny Irwin and Mike Skinner, along with Bickle and Sadler, toward the back of the field, but they won't be there very long. Let's check in once again with Bill Weber.
Well, take a good look at Kevin Eagle, because you're not going to see him very much today. He's the gas man for Dale Earnhardt Jr. And the gas men, really, we're going to have to argue for a full day of pay, because they'll probably only be used once today, as Jerry mentioned. Fuel range on these cars could go as high as 64 or 65 laps, with some caution laps thrown in between, maybe even a little further. So not only do you watch if the great race stays green for guys that try and expand their window, but if there's an early caution after lap lap, say 32 or 33, watch for the drivers to come in and the gas man to go to work. To Ray Dunlap.
Bill, another thing to keep in mind today is that there is a different tire in use this weekend here at Michigan for both the Busch Series and for the Winston Cup Series cars. Now here's the difference. The tire actually has a little bit different sidewall on it. From right here where it attaches to the rim all the way up to the top of the casing, it's a little bit flexible, more flexible I should say, than the tire they've run in the past. So that allows it to give a little bit. Well, with less downforce on the Busch cars, what that creates is a very twitchy situation. The drivers are going to have to worry about their tires today. Back to Bill.
One of those Winston Cup drivers in this field today, Jeff Gordon in his Pepsi Chevrolet, but early problems for them, not with the car, but with the radio. Gordon can hear his crew, but he cannot talk to them. They will use hand signals on the top of the roof and on the side of the door to tell the crew how the car is handling.
All right, NASCAR has added one more pace lap to try to get these cars up to temperature and to get this massive crowd in to Michigan Speedway. We'll come back with a green flag in a moment. NASCAR action coming your way from Michigan Speedway, and what a huge weekend we've got for you. 7 o'clock Eastern time on the Deuce, NASCAR Winston Cup Happy Hour. 8 o'clock RPM tonight, wrapping up the day's activities. And, of course, tomorrow, a big day. 11:30 a.m. Eastern, RPM today. NASCAR today with Bill Weber at noon Eastern time on the Deuce. Bob Jenkins will step in along with Ned Jarrett for our live flag-to-flag coverage of the Pepsi 400 on ESPN at 12:30 Eastern time. We'll wrap it all up with RPM tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern time. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Part of the Go Network, go.com. We are set for the green flag. 43 cars made the field. If you just joined us, 60 were here to attempt to qualify. If you do the math, that means 17 went home. 21 of these drivers will compete today and then tomorrow in the Pepsi 400.
These cars will race today, average speed somewhere around 175 to 177 miles per hour. These cars, even with as little horsepower as they have, getting faster and faster at the Michigan Speedway.
Pontiac safety car, and this massive field and grandstands packed with fans are on their feet, awaiting the green flag.
Doesn't take Dale Earnhardt Jr. long to come down from that spot and try to take the lead going down the backstretch. 3 wide, he's on the inside. Could not make that pass. Wisely decided to back off and let the other guys go.
Up 3 by 3 inside and outside, but they're still chasing Blaney, who was pulled away by about 7 or 8 car lengths at turn 1.
And Dave Blaney, the Amoco onboard, looks back the entire field behind him.
That's a separation down the back straightaway, 2,400 feet at 185 miles an hour. Now Mark Martin in the Winn-Dixie car. That's the look he has, the back of the Lance Chevrolet for Jeff Purvis.
Mark Martin trying his best to take away that 4th spot from Sterling Marlin. Meanwhile, they're 3 abreast, as looks like Mike Dillon on the inside. Yes. Wisely backs off. That was the 25 car of Kenny Wallace.
Ward Burton trying to make a move down on the inside, but that is back for 6th position. He is the 02 car. Now he will fall back in line behind the 24 of Jeff Gordon. Our outlaw copter cam looking high above this 2-mile D-shaped oval.
And Sterling Marlin all of a sudden really seems to be having some problems up on the high side. Oh, turned right in front of the entire field.
That is the 86 of Gary Bradbury, who got a tap from behind and turned him directly up into the wall.
Wow. Just amazing that no more cars than Bradbury involved. And we see the Meyer sponsorship on the car here and some heavy damage to the nose of that car.
Take a look again. You'll see him coming off turn 4. And looks to be the Kenny Irwin car, number 11, the Rayovac car that was right behind Bradbury, who may have moved up across the racetrack as he was coming up in front of him. The Don Mark Ramon Chevrolet with the Meyer sponsorship bringing out the caution for the first time. Let's look again from high above, guys.
Well, right there, Kenny Irwin was trying to go by on the outside, looked like Kyle, and Bradbury was trying to move up.
Yeah, that's one thing this racetrack lends itself to is 4 and 5 wide racing. We've already seen it down the front stretch. We've seen it in the corners. And the problem is it's tough to know where everybody is. It looks like at that point in time that the 11 car of Kenny Irwin, he was searching for a place. Bradbury was searching for a place, and they just got to the same place on the racetrack at the same time. You can't say it was anybody's fault because it happens in the middle of the straightaway. Everybody's just jockeying for position.
Well, the window net is down. That's the good news. And Gary Bradbury looks to be okay. Moving around inside the car. They will, safety crews are there at the window. We'll come back and reset the field from Michigan Speedway in just a moment. Back at Michigan Speedway, working caution for the first time today in the early laps here of the Napa 200. There is Jason Keller, who has 2 wins. His most recent victory, a dominating performance 2 weeks ago at Indianapolis Raceway Park. So an early, obviously an unscheduled pit stop for the IGA Fleming Chevrolet. Ray, what was the problem?
Doc, they got a little piece of debris as they came down through the front stretch. It got stuck in the front grille, and they were afraid that if they ran into someone, it might puncture the radiator. But no problem on the IGA car. They got the debris out, and everything's good.
Well, the 91 car also had Rich Bickle and the 5 of Dick Trickle. Let's check in with Bill Weber.
Well, Jerry, Dick Trickle's car was tight yesterday, but very loose here at the start of the race. Very, very loose. So he came in, they tightened him up a little, took a spring rubber out of the right rear, and sent him back out on the track.
All right, there's a look at Dick Trickle's Snyder Chevrolet owned by Jimmy Spencer. I'll tell you why we're under caution. It came out on lap number 4.
The white car comes off the corner, Gary Bradbury, and right behind him is the 11 car of Kenny Irwin. Bradbury starts back up in the groove, and they make contact, and Bradbury goes up and makes contact with the wall, and no other cars involved.
Yep, from the rail back on board, here we'll see from Kenny Irwin's point of view, he's up the racetrack. As you saw from the other view, there were cars down below him. He starts down, the 86 starts up, boom, they just barely touch. You saw the 86 car get up in the air, and he hit a ton when he hit the outside wall.
And Benny from high above in the Outlaw copter cam, you can see the car begin to move up. As Benny mentioned, Bradbury up a little bit into the groove, and the contact in his car hit the wall a ton because they're going over 175 miles an hour there.
The way Bradbury came off turn 4, I think he thought he had cleared Kenny Irwin. He was just going to move up in front of him.
Yeah, I think he thought he had cleared, and I think Kenny Irwin was looking in the mirror, seeing the rest of the pack go to the inside of the racetrack, and Kenny wanted to get down and not get lost from the draft. And, you know, they just got together on the same piece of real estate.
Here is Casey Atwood, who was 11th in the points coming into the day. The phenomenal 18-year-old who became the youngest Busch winner ever this year at Milwaukee, winning from the pole. So he heads back behind the wall. Check in once again in the Jason Keller pits with Ray.
Well, Doc, I told you there was a very small piece of debris in the front valence of the IGA Chevy. Not really. It was a pretty big piece of debris. This is the front valence that came off of Gary Bradbury's car, and this entire piece was lodged in the front grille. They wanted to make sure they got it out of there, but evidently everything's okay with the 57.
Well, and Jason Keller will dodge a bullet here early on as they were dodging race cars with caution coming out on lap number 4. Back with the green flag in a moment. Welcome back to Michigan Speedway. I'm Jerry Punch along with Kyle Petty, Benny Parsons, Bill Weber, and Ray Dunlap calling the action today. NASCAR Busch Series action, completing the first caution flag of the afternoon, an incident involving Gary Bradbury and Kenny Irwin out of turn 4. Huge crowd on hand under clear skies at Brooklyn, Michigan. And we'll get set for the restart here on lap number 9.
Randall Joy, the first one to dive out of line. He dives in on the inside of Kenny Schrader, trying to take away a spot. Kind of looks like the outside line. Oh, and here comes a battle for the lead. Earnhardt Jr. on the inside of Blaney.
Earnhardt Jr., Kyle, just came roaring off of turn 2 like he'd been shot out of a canyon.
And that's stout right there, because I'm going to tell you something. It's just like Benny was getting ready to say. It looks like the outside line is the faster line. These Busch cars, even though they don't have the top speed with the 9-to-1s down the straightaways, if they can keep them wound up in the corner, they're faster through the corners than a Winston Cup car are. That's why they've had so much trouble with this tire, getting used to it in practice with the new flexibility of the tire and the new construction. They've just had a hard time because they really run faster through the corners than Winston Cup cars do.
Still side by side. Now here's where Earnhardt Jr. was so good a lap ago, Benny.
And he still is good. He will take the lead, move up in front of Blaney. Now Mark Martin, the Winn-Dixie car, moves on the inside of Blaney, trying to take over that second spot. Purvis is going to go with Mark Martin. Here comes Jeff Gordon down on the inside.
Once again, the 60 car is Mark Martin. The 4 is Purvis. The 24 is Gordon, but on the inside of him is Warren Burton in the 02.
Imagine Jeff's surprise when a car was on the end. Jeff Gordon thought he was low in the corner, and all of a sudden there was a car beneath him. Ward Burke pulled up alongside. Imagine his surprise. Now they're going to make it 3 wides. I thought maybe Sterling Marlin in the orange, number 14, was going to do that, but he decided not to.
Still a battle side by side, and now Ward Burton takes the Siemens Pontiac back in line behind Jeff Gordon's Pepsi car. Remember, it's the Busch car. It's the Gordon Evernham Motorsports car, not the Rick Hendrick machine they run on Sundays. We told you one of the young drivers had to call it a day early. I think Ray is with him, right?
Well, Doc, the winner at Milwaukee was Casey Atwood, but the same problem for Jason Keller. Debris got into the radiator. They've replaced it. Casey, do you go back out and race hard now, even though you're a few laps down?
Yeah, we're just going to try to go out there and ride and get some points. You know, our day's pretty much over, so Castro team's working hard to get us back out. We just need to stay in the top 10 in points, so we're going to get back out there and just ride them out.
Okay, so Casey will get back out there, but he's going to be, I'd say 6 or 7 laps down by the time they do the repair.
You know, that's one thing that's important. He's racing for points, and he's up in there. But it's like you say, he's 18, 19 years old. He needs the laps on the racetrack. They're more important to him than points are at this point in time. He's such a phenomenal talent that every lap that he puts in, he just continues to get better and better.
And as you look from Mark Martin's onboard, speaking of points, Earnhardt Jr. by leading now will get bonus points today. Remember the separation, only 1 point coming into the day. Matt Kenseth has started back in 30th spot. Thus far this year, Earnhardt Jr. has earned 30 more points than Kenseth in the 22 starts thus far.
30 points, bonus points, you're saying.
30 more bonus points by leading, right.
See Jeff Gordon going by and taking the spot away from the 4 car of Jeff Purvis.
Bit. You see the 93 car has begun to run them down a little bit. And you see the different lines that they run through the corners, where Earnhardt Jr. will let the car go in and run up a little bit. Mark will hammer that thing right down to the white line. You see him turning left right there out of the camera from the 93 car with Blaney.
Here we see the 91 car, Rich Bickle. He made a pit stop, but he's trying to work his way back. He goes by Steve Grissom, the 22 car. That moves him into about the 32nd position.
There are some of the cars toward the back of the pack that made that pit stop during the first caution flag. We mentioned Trickle was a part of that. Bickle, Jason Keller with that debris in his front grille.
Here comes Jeff Gordon on the inside of Blaney. Jeff Gordon's running around the bottom of the racetrack. This is for 3rd position. But as they run side by side, Kyle, that allows those 2 cars in front that are running nose to tail to run a little bit faster than Gordon and Blaney.
Yeah, the draft's incredibly important here. It's like I said, with the 9-to-1 motors, these cars don't have the straightaway speeds that the Winston Cup cars have. Talking to Adam last night, he was just thoroughly confused at how much the draft really picked him up yesterday in practice when they started running under race conditions.
And here's Mark Green slowing in the backstretch, the Dr. Pepper car. That's the Julius Irving, Joe Washington-owned machine. Obviously having his troubles as he comes very, very slowly down toward pit road. So a tough break for Mark Green, one of 3 Green brothers in the field. He'll make the left-hand turn back to the garage area.
That usually means a blown engine. Earnhardt still continues to lead in the 3 car. Mark Martin, I thought a little bit ago, was going to try to make a move on Earnhardt, but now it looks like he's satisfied to run in the tracks of the 3 car, the AC Delco Chevrolet, and try to figure out where the best line for the Winn-Dixie Ford would be.
They're single file back through about the 18th or 19th spot. Now there's Matt Kenseth actually in the 15th position as he makes a move inside of the Duralube car for Kenny Wallace. Kenseth started back in 30th position, and here at lap 16, he is trying to work his way into the top 15, and now he does.
And tomorrow, Kenseth will start the Winston Cup race in his own car for the first time. We see Brett Bodine in the Gold Bond car, and he and Jeff Green trying to hook up and go by Kenny Wallace.
I want to say something here about Brett Bodine. He just attempted to qualify for the Winston Cup race and missed the race. That's devastating, and it's devastating to miss a race, but then to think 15 minutes later you've got to get in a car, put on your game face, and go out here and run another race and get pumped up about it. Brett's done a really good job to come and move up through the pack as he is.
Indeed, as you look from high above, these shots courtesy of the fine folks of the Outlaw Copter Cam, giving us his views from high above this very wide 2-mile oval here in the Irish Hills of Michigan. Told you Earnhardt Jr. is our leader, 5 poles, 4 wins this year, but he has a mirror full of experienced drivers.
Yeah, a couple of pretty good race car drivers right behind them is the Jeff Gordon, the Pepsi car, trying to get on the inside of Mark Martin to take over the 2nd spot. I don't think Mark will probably fight this too hard because he realizes they'll just get farther and farther behind. But instead, he comes up on the outside, trying to hold on to that 2nd spot.
Now he takes that car down on the bottom of the racetrack. Cal, it must be a good feeling knowing you have that much racetrack and that much room in a turn to be able to go like 3 lanes away from the guy and move up on him and make the pass.
Yeah, it is. That's what's so special about running in Michigan and some of the other Penske tracks is the corners are so wide that you feel like you can race anywhere. You can go in high, you can come back across, somebody can go in below you and slide up a little bit. You've got room to cover for their mistakes, and they've got room to cover for yours. And it makes for some incredible racing as the day goes on.
I make mention for you KC Atwood fans, he is back out of the garage area, Benny, and back on the racetrack, so maybe he'll be able to gain some of those points back.
Yeah, they've been able to change the radiator. He's now 13 laps down. Now we see Jeff Burton trying to get on the inside of Sterling Marlin. Randy LaJoy, Bob Evans on board cameras trying to follow Jeff Burton, but Burton slides up the racetrack and leaves LaJoy hung on the inside with no one to draft with. Check our speed and RPMs on our Lucas Oil Products on board telemetry. LaJoy up to 180 miles per hour. Meanwhile, a battle for the lead off turn 4.
Jeff Gordon trying to take the lead here on lap number 20 of 100, and he will take the lead, sliding up out of turn 4.
And you saw Jeff move to the bottom of the racetrack. You see guys do that in qualifying. They kind of run downhill down the front stretch. At the same time, when you're in a race like that, that breaks the draft. They keep you from running side by side with somebody and slowing you down. Both cars get to maximize whatever their aerodynamics are and what their motors are.
All right, here's that scramble Benny was talking about a moment ago. That's Sterling Marlin looking at the back bumper of the Bob Evans restaurant car, LaJoy's car, as they go by David Green in the 41.
This is a battle back for the 11th, 12th position. And we see Matt Kenseth on the inside, the DeWalt Tools car moving up on the inside of Sterling Marlin.
Matt Kenseth has come a long, long way to be in a battle for 10th, 11th, and 12th right in this position right here.
Matt had told me yesterday that the car would not qualify well. It was very, very tight in qualifying, but he said on race day, as warm as it's going to be, my car will loosen up with all that big stagger difference, and I will be a factor in the race itself.
Well,
way he's coming right now, he's definitely going to be a factor, especially if they catch a caution at some point in time and they can bunch him back up, because he's fought to get to this place without him. The advantage of having a caution every now and then.
Jeff Burton, Kenny Schrader, Michael Waltrip. And Waltrip started in 26th spot and is right now trying behind the 9 car. He's in 9th position, trying to take over 8.
Michael's Band-Aid Chevrolet, same car he finished 5th with at Charlotte back in May, and hoping to get another top 5 finish here. His best finish actually came here 3 years ago when he finished 7th in Busch competition at Michigan.
You know, you talked about Casey a minute ago being back in the race here after only losing 12 or 13 laps. There he is slowing down. But you got to think about that. These are 30-second laps. Those guys changed the radiator in about 6.5 minutes, which is pretty incredible for their crew.
Racing all around this racetrack. Still in the early laps. We are just about a quarter of the way through. Then we'll click off 25 laps in about a lap or so. So we have 23 complete. Jeff Gordon, for the first time in Busch Series competition this year, is our leader. Back with more from Michigan in just a moment. Stay with us. NASCAR action live on ESPN from Michigan Speedway. If you just joined us, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was able to take the lead early from pole sitter Dave Blaney as the crew watched an approving eye. Casey Atwood, the young 18-year-old, had trouble, but so did the veteran Gary Bradbury, a tap from Kenny Irwin. But on lap 20, it was 3-time Winston Cup champion Jeff Gordon who would take the lead for the first time in 1999 in Busch Series competition.
And he continues to lead. He and Dale Earnhardt Jr. right now have a 2-second lead over the third-place car of Dave Blaney. Blaney was able to get by Mark Martin while we were in break. And here comes Earnhardt Jr. down the inside. Man, he's so strong off that turn 2.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car is incredible up off turn 2. When somebody's in front of him, it's like his car is able to turn in the middle of the corner arrow-wise. He's able to make that cut and stand in the gas and drive it up off the corner a lot better in second place than he is when he's leading.
As we mentioned, Earnhardt Jr. will be racing here tomorrow in the Pepsi 400. Great experience being able to race in front of, beside, and behind at car number 24 of Jeff Gordon. And possibly a little bit of a glimpse into NASCAR's future. Talented young drivers mixing it up here in NASCAR Busch competition.
See Kevin LePage driving the 77 car this week. He's in 7th position. Jeff Burton is in the 9 car in 8th, and Michael Waltrip, the 21 car in 9th. All Winston Cup drivers. Now trying to learn what they can and make a buck on a Saturday afternoon.
Kevin LePage normally drives the Redman sponsored car for Bill Pepsi, the 99 car, but he didn't have this one on his schedule and was asked by Jimmy Means, who was the chief mechanic on that Lear car, if he would drive a team car with Ed Barrier. As you see on the bottom of the racetrack, Jeff Burton goes all the way down what Kyle was talking about a moment ago. He headed toward Jackson to make that pass.
And that's the way Jeff Burton Winston Cup car has been working too. Those guys, the Fords, they've got those Fords, Jeff and Mark both, where they can run on the top of the racetrack or they can turn left in the middle of the corner and get right down on that white line and just power up off of it.
Well, the 2-time series champion did not want to be seeing one of our pit guys this early in the race, right, Ray?
Absolutely, Doc. 9th in the points coming into the race is Randy LaJoie. Your car's in the garage. What's the problem?
Something happened under the hood. Stopped through the drive-through Bob Evans. I guess it's unfortunate. You know, we tightened the car up a bunch from last practice. We definitely tightened it up a whole lot. But we had some adjustments. We could have been okay. Just got right along, and something happened to the, looks like under the hood here. But oh well, we'll get them next week.
Okay, that's Randy LaJoie. And guys, remember, if he could win the race at Charlotte, a lucky fan has a shot at $1 million. They definitely don't want to see him behind the wall like he is today. One more update on the 27 car, Casey Atwood. They're done for the day. After they changed that radiator, the engine let go after he went back out on the track. So 2 guys completely done for the day, LaJoie and Atwood.
And there's a look at Ed Barrier, by the way, driving the other Lear car, the team car, as we swap the lead once again up front. They're having some fun, BP.
Yes, they are, and guess where that was? Over in turn 2. So evidently Jeff Gordon said, you're not the only guy that has a honey spot around this racetrack. I get around turn 2 pretty well.
All right, mixing it up back here. That's Tony Raines, the impressive rookie driver that came out of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series in the 74 car. Kenny Irwin in the Rayovac machine, and of course the 52 of Ed Barrier.
Those cars are back in 37th, 38th, 39th.
You know, while we sit here and watch this part of the race, and you see that the Winston Cup guys are spread out through the entire field, except looking at the monitor. If you look at the top 15 cars on the racetrack right now, only 2 of the guys in the top 15 are not running in the Winston Cup race tomorrow. The top 15, like Benny said at the beginning, or like they said at the beginning, this is almost a Winston Cup race in Busch cars.
Kenny Irwin's 1999 season. Earnhardt Jr. says, okay, let's see what I can do with you off the turn. He hugs the inside and powers right on by. And waves to Jeff, says, thanks for the room.
Yeah, you see him waving. And those two guys are just racing each other. They're the class of the field at this point in time until they're able to make pit stops and some other guys can make adjustments. These two guys are running wherever they want to. You see Jeff run high. You see Jeff run low. You see Dale Jr. run high. You see Dale Jr. come off the corner on the line. They're filling each other out. If it comes down to the end of the race, I'd hate to be the guy in second place because I think the guy in first knows what you're going to do.
And they're starting to get some slower cars. And we talk about fuel mileage. We're now 34 laps into this thing. The caution flag comes out right now. Some of these guys will probably make pit stops and try to make it the rest of the way.
Exactly 2 years ago, Steve Park won this race by pitting on lap 33, going 67 laps. The year before, Purvis won it pitting on lap 34. He ran 66 laps.
And, you know, you talk about these guys racing like this and one leading and then the next one leading. Bobby Leslie, who used to be the crew chief for Mark Martin on the Busch car, we were talking about this morning. They had to pit last year, and Burton ends up winning the race. And Burton followed Mark all that time and was able to run 9 laps further just because he stayed right in Mark's tire tracks for the whole race.
So a pretty good lesson on how to save fuel. That's Kyle Petty you're listening to. Benny Parsons in the booth, along with my yours truly, Jerry Punch, Ray Dunlap, and Bill Weber. Covering the action on pit road. Here comes Earnhardt Jr. from the Kenny Irwin bumper cam, watching Earnhardt. And there's a look at Gordon as they will go up and try to lap the 38th place car of Kenny Irwin.
Grissom, the Air Jamaica Vacations onboard camera, looks back as Earnhardt Jr. dives down to the inside. Jeff Gordon dives down to the inside. Grissom is now in 36th position.
Our Lucas Oil onboard telemetry, the world's leader in heavy-duty and high-performance lubricants. Lucas sponsoring our telemetry. Just take a look at the RPMs and the speed at 181 miles per hour.
Him just touching the brakes. That's slow the car down so it'll turn just a bit better as we see Tony Raines going by, and here goes Blaney, the 3rd place car by these 2 cars.
Well, we are showing 37 laps complete, which means that we are over a third of the way home. And this stop number 23 on the $14 million NASCAR Busch Series Grand National Division Tour for 1999. A glimpse of the NASCAR's future. He has Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon, the top 2. Back in just a moment. 30 Eastern with NFL Tonight only on ESPN2. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com. Cowboys and Patriots tonight, 8:15 Eastern Time on ESPN.
And congratulations to those Carolina Panthers last night. Go Panthers.
Picked up a win over the Steelers. Playing at home at Ericsson Stadium as Earnhardt Jr. trying to pick up his 5th win in 1999. A slide by Elton Sawyer. Placed the car number 98 back in 33rd position, 1 lap down. Pretty torrid pace early on here. They're still averaging laps at almost 171 miles an hour, 170.697 that time by Earnhardt Jr.
See Matt Kenseth, the DeWalt car, started way back in the 30s, has moved his way up to the 9th position. The problem that he has is that he's 11 seconds behind the leader.
Clear by 5.
And he's not running that much faster than the leader. As a matter of fact, he's running about the same speed. So without a caution flag, he's never going to be able to get back up front.
And the bad news is, twice in the last 4 years, this race has run caution-free. There has not been a single caution flag, and that's why Mark Martin set the record. Now listening to Matt Kenseth radio, the DeWalt crew, Robbie Reiser owns that car. That's Jeff Purvis back behind him in 10th spot in the Lance Chevrolet. Brand new car this weekend for Purvis. Gary Bechtel owned car. There's the lead up front, Earnhardt Jr. Car number 3. Behind him, the Pepsi colors of Jeff Gordon.
And how about Blaney? Dave Blaney has moved back up, and here goes Jeff Gordon for the lead over turn 2. And right there is Blaney. He's joined this battle for the lead.
Now it could get a little bit interesting, Kyle, as now you have 3 cars, and it's not just Earnhardt and Gordon playing.
No, it's not just them in the sandbox anymore. There's somebody else that's come and brought their bucket, and they want to play too. And Blaney wants to lead. And Blaney has been fast. As we watch the monitor up here, the last 2 or 3 laps, Blaney's been incredibly fast. He's been about an hour. You see him go the outside of Earnhardt Jr.
And he's running much higher line through the corners than both Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon. He's running that high line where Gordon and Earnhardt want to dive down to the bottom of the racetrack. Watch Jeff. He'll go down to the bottom, and Blaney continues up on the top of the racetrack. And when he comes off this corner, I'm talking about the Amoco car, he really gets a great run.
If you just joined us, Dave Blaney was our pole sitter. Shattered the old track record by almost 3 miles an hour. In fact, 37 of the 60 cars broke the track record Jeff Burton set here a year ago. Earnhardt Jr. looking back, can't quite make it work.
Dave Blaney said, well, Jeff Gordon, you dirty rat, I showed you that groove and you took it away from me.
Yeah, going into turn 3, Jeff just went in there and didn't turn. Jeff went in there and run straight, just like Blaney had. But here's Blaney going to the low side, someplace we haven't seen him really.
Says, I'll take your groove away from you. You were running down low and I was running up high, so if I can make the pass on the inside.
I don't think an Amoco car liked it on the bottom as well as it does on top. A little twitchy on the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, and one thing else, another thing is he's got that 3 car. As he drives past the 24 car, but he's got that 3 car behind him that loosens you up a little bit here.
Well, Earnhardt Jr. is able to push that Pontiac by. Now he has to try to clear the 24 car.
No, he kind of squeezes between the 2.
I tell you what, you got to be impressed with Blaney to qualify on the pole and shatter the record like he did, then drop back to 3rd or 4th and fight his way back and pass guys of this caliber. I think he's showing that he's going to be a force and be around for a while.
And that Michael Waltrip, the quickest lap that time, back in 6th position.
Dave Blaney only his 51st ever start in a stock car. Former World of Outlaws champion back in 1995, a 4-time runner-up. Kenny Wallace in the Duraloop car driving for Ed Rinsey makes a pass by Kenny Schrader in the car number 15, the Oakwood Chevrolet. That is for position. That's for 12th spot.
Sterling Marlin back there also, the 14th car. And I saw Brett Bodine behind Sterling Marlin.
Kenny Wallace, a former 2-time most popular driver back when he was running the Busch Series full-time. 8 career victories. And this series now drives full-time in Winston Cup for the Square D team of Andy Petrie.
And Sterling Marlin, the 14th car, gets by in Kenny Schrader in Andy Petrie's car. Meanwhile, the leader's in some traffic. Blaney kind of squeezes up in front of Dale Earnhardt Jr., that is. There's Dick Trickle and Adam Petty. Trickle's going to make it 3. Yeah, he'll make it 3. Bress going in the corner.
Those cars are running 29th and 30th respectively.
We're going to fit this time, guys. We're going to fit this time.
Whoa, how about that? Is that Earnhardt Jr.? Oh, that was Adam Petty, I'm told, that said he was going to pit this time.
Yeah, I think he's having a little bit of trouble. He was running up there about 26th or 27th, but then the last 4 or 5 laps, he's lost a straightaway or more and now ended up being lapped.
All right, halfway this time by, 50 down, 50 to go. We told you the fuel window would be between 55 and 65 laps, so now we begin looking at fuel strategy. Here is the spree. Chevy Monte Carlo.
The second flagpole.
For Adam Petty.
Four tires, guys. One round of wedge.
Lance Snyder's a crew chief talking to Adam. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment and also one round of wedge. And right in front of you, Bill Weber.
And Adam Petty sits on pit road, and they do work on the right side. They make the chassis adjustment they talked about. Now they come around to the left side. Momentarily, we expect Jeff Gordon to pit. His stall is right in front of Petty's, so it'd be to Petty's advantage to go ahead and get those tires on and get out of here. He's got his fuel now. Adam's on his way. Gordon hits pit road, and will make the drive all the way down pit road. Now, Gordon's car has been very loose. What Ray Evernham told him a few laps ago is we're going to make an air pressure change and the wedge adjustment that we made on the Winston Cup car this morning. Remember, Gordon can hear his crew, but he cannot talk to them. They do put the wedge wrench in. They will make the chassis adjustment. This will be 4 tires and fuel. Before the race started, Ray Evernham reminded Gordon, you won at Sears Point with laryngitis. Just keep that in mind. Left side tires going on. They've got plenty of fuel in. Left front is done, and Jeff Gordon's on his way back to the race.
Boy, 16.9 second pit stop for the Pepsi crew down there for Jeff Gordon, and heck of a stop.
It's a great pit stop now. That puts a lot of pressure on those NASCAR Busch Series teams. Tony Eury, Tony Jr. and Sr., and all the guys with the AC Delco car to make a 17-second pit stop. Also, Dave Blaney's guys.
There's the 21 car, the Band-Aid machine. Ronnie Silver in the crew, taking a work on the right side. You saw Mike Skinner a moment ago in the yellow freight car. C.R. Miller's crew now making a tire change there. There's Michael Waltrip's crew now left side of the Band-Aid Chevrolet. Michael having a great run. Working now on the left rear, 23 plus seconds as Sterling Marlin is right in front of Ray Dunlap.
Well, Doc, this is a brand new race car they built in 1 week's time at Sadco, but Sterling's been on the radio saying a very, very loose condition. They're going to change 4 tires, an air pressure change in the right front. See a little bit of a wedge change in the left rear there. Somewhat of a lengthy stop here. They got plenty of fuel in, and Sterling's down and away. Bobby Hamilton Jr. is coming in, and we expect Ward Burton in the next 2 laps.
And they are trouble getting the track foam Chevrolet started, and now no free fire for Sterling Marlin, and he will make his way down pit road.
That was Bobby Hamilton Jr. and Bobby Hamilton Sr. pitted right beside each other there, and their pit stop, and Jr. beats him out by a pretty good margin.
Boy, wouldn't Blaney and Dale Earnhardt Jr. love to see a caution flag now, because they would have only 19 cars in the lead lap.
And most importantly, Jeff Gordon would be shown a lap down, but they have yet to pit. Here comes Kevin LePage in the Lear Ford Taurus down pit road. And he's headed toward you, Ray Dunlap.
Well, the 77 car running in 8th place, that's Kevin LePage. A driver change this week. He is on his way. Kevin says the car is very good. He will bring it in the attention of Jimmy Means and the entire crew. Just barely made it into his pit box. They're going right side tires right now. Fuel will be in. We expect Ward Burton to come the next time. Jeff Green in the 32 car, currently 3rd in points in right in front of the 77. LePage with somewhat of a lengthy stop right here as they go to the left side tires. Green will start, and now to Bill Weber.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in his pit stall. Mark Martin is on pit road and will pit 1 stall behind him. Earnhardt Jr.'s car has been good in 1 and 2, loose in 3 and 4. Air pressure adjustment on the right front to try and compensate that. 4 tires and fuel for the 3 car. He's on his way. 1 spot behind him. Mark Martin sits on pit road. Already has right side tires. They'll come around to the left. They wanted to take a spring rubber out of the right rear. Mark's car has been loose. They also wanted to make an air pressure adjustment. They talked about a possible wedge adjustment, but decided to take the rubber out instead. Good stuff for Mark. He's on his way.
Great pit emergency to Winn-Dixie car headed down pit road. Now we're still waiting on Dave Blaney, who was the pole setter and remains our leader, as to make a pit stop. Here is Matt Kenseth, who had come all the way from 30th to 4th position. There's Kenseth and DeWalt Chevrolet behind him. The 4 of Purvis coming in as you watch Robbie Reiser's crew now go to work for Matt Kenseth. And they Like you heard Bill Weber and Ray Dunlap say, a lot of guys complaining of being loose in 3 and 4, making air pressure adjustments. They make a wedge adjustment, looks like Kyle in the left rear of the 17 car.
Yeah, and the 17 car came down pit road the best of anybody. He carried some speed down through here. Even though there is a speed limit, he carried some speed and did really good as Blaney comes down pit road right behind him.
The Amoco car, our leader and our pole sitter, Blaney, looking for that first Busch Series win, pitting all the way at the very end of pit road in front of Ray Dunlap.
Well, they knew they could go to lap 60, but they decided to not take a chance here. Come in and make sure there's plenty of fuel. Right side tires are going on Dave Blaney's car. No chassis change at this time. Dave says he's very happy. They come around to the left side. Fuel is going in right now. This is a pretty routine pit stop. A little bit of fuel comes out. They've got plenty of fuel to go the distance, and Blaney is down and away. It looks like about a 18-second stop.
Well, the pit stop's now being cycled here at Michigan Speedway. As you look at Kenny Irwin's Rayovac crew, he is down and away after a 4-tire change and filling it up with fuel. Here is the car number 9, the track gear car of Jeff Burton. Bill Weber.
And they do make a major wedge adjustment on Burton's car. Right side tires going on. This will be a 4-tire stop as well. Lots of traffic still on pit road at that end. Burton getting his 4 tires in fuel. Remember how well he ran in this race a year ago? They're having trouble with the left rear, but as crew chief told me this morning, they changed everything on this car except the paint. So far, so good.
All right, not a bad stop for Tommy Morgan and the track gear crews. They made that huge adjustment in the left rear for Jeff Burton. See if that makes a difference here. And remember, if you just joined us based on fuel mileage, there normally is only one pit stop in this 100-lap event, and they have just made it. Now, Benny, you were watching a moment ago a replay of one of the pit stops.
Yeah, Dave Blaney makes the left sides are going up. They rolled, we can't see it from this angle, but they rolled the tire in for the left rear, and they rolled it exactly where the jack man was going to be. And he had to stop and wait for just about a second for somebody to move the tire, and that is a second that he'll need when he gets back on the racetrack. Because there we see Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon hooked up. This is for the lead.
And you mentioned that tire problem. And there's about a 3-second separation back to Blaney. That's exactly what you're talking about.
Blaney's nowhere to be seen. So just little things like that is so critical.
Well, small mistakes, little things have huge impacts at 180 miles an hour. And they're the two they're chasing right now. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the AC Delco Chevrolet, and the Pepsi Chevy of Jeff Gordon. 59 laps are complete. ESPN coverage of exciting NASCAR Busch Series action from Michigan is being brought to you by the more than 2,700 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. By Daytona USA, the official attraction of NASCAR. And by ESPN Home Video. Get your officially licensed NASCAR videos from ESPN Video. Back in Michigan, I'm Jerry Punch along with Benny Parsons, Kyle Petty, Ray Dunlap, and Bill Weber. Live coverage of the NASCAR Busch Series action, and there's the guy they're chasing, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And there's the chasee, the number 1 chasee, and that would be Jeff Gordon. He's a half second behind Dale Earnhardt Jr. Now we got to go back about 4 seconds to find the battle for 3rd position. That's between teammates Ward Burton, the Siemens car, and Dave Blaney in the Amoco car.
Mike mentioned while we were away a moment ago the 25 car of Kenny Wallace and the 91 of Rich Bickle both headed to the garage area. For you Wallace and Bickle fans, they are behind the wall. We'll update you as soon as we can.
And looking at the monitor here, Tony Raines has moved up to 14th position. And he got lapped incredibly early. He was lapped at like 30 or 40 laps or something. I don't know that if he didn't change 2 tires during that pit stop or what, but he had an incredible pit stop to come from 35th or 36th up to 14th position, 15th position.
There's the 5 car of Dick Trickle. Remember, he came in on that first caution flag. He was one of the 3 cars that pitted on lap 4. Dick Trickle being shown in 5th position in the Snyder National car. And here's not a good sight for Mike Skinner.
Now, anytime you see the hood up on a race car in the pits, that's not a good sign. And most of the trouble is not visible anyway. Most of the trouble is inside the engine.
Well, there have been a number of drivers who've had problems here this weekend. Bill Weber?
Well, Kyle, you'll have a special interest in this one. Adam Petty has been back to pit road after they put on the 4 tires and sent him back out. He said the car had a terrible push, so they were concerned one of the tires...
You don't even roll over, it's already pinned.
They were concerned that one of the tires wasn't any good or that they got a bad set. They brought Adam back to pit road, put on 4 more tires, and the car's not any better. So that's a learning curve, obviously, but these tires have really been a mystery to some of these young guys, Kyle.
Yeah, you know, you could hear his radio voice on the radio then. He's talking about it rolling over. He's complained about it during practice, rolling over on that right front and just staying on the right front and giving him a real strange feel. That's probably because the first time I brought him up here, he was 15 years old when he drove around this place. I let him drive my Winston Cup car here about 4 or 5 years ago, I guess. But they've struggled with how this thing is supposed to feel to them.
Jason Keller getting service on pit road. Steve Addington and the crew. He was one of those cars that also pitted on lap 5 and now comes back in on lap 67. And now here once again is the 5 car making his second stop and what should be final stop of the day for Dick Trickle and the Jimmy Spencer-owned Snyder Trucking Chevy.
Well, he stopped on that first caution flag at lap 5 or something. That's one reason he was able to go. And Jeff Gordon takes the lead as Earnhardt Jr. I thought was boxed in, but now Jeff Gordon decides he does not want to go 3 wide on the bottom of the racetrack. He falls back in behind Dale Earnhardt Jr.
That's Kevin Grubb right in front of Earnhardt Jr. in the Timberwolf car. Now Gordon will go around the other car and pull right up to the rear deck. And now Jr. has some room on the inside.
These cars are running back in the 23rd, 24th position.
Vantage point from Shane Hall. As you take a look at our Lucas Oil telemetry.
Down to 153 miles per hour. In the middle of the corner, now they accelerate. This thing will go up to about 180, 90 miles per hour. At the end of the straightaway, this would be the fastest point of the racetrack. To 183 before he just touches the brakes, just enough to keep the car on the bottom of the racetrack. As Shane Hall tries to get on the inside of Kevin Grubb and follow those leaders by, he wasn't able to get by him, but he was able to get by one of the other cars.
Shane Hall on the outside front row. Last time out at IRP's best qualifying effort of the year, had a top 5 finish at Myrtle Beach early in the year. He finished 4th, so this team really coming around. The Kerry Agajani and Mike Kerb owned CT Farm and Country General Chevrolet.
And Dick Trickle, he stayed out there just a little bit too long because I'm told he ran out of fuel and had to be pushed to get the car refired.
Adam Petty is back in with the hood up, and that is not a good sign, Bill.
Well, it's not an engine problem. They're concerned.
Bounce on it right there, guys. Bounce on the rear. See if you feel like a shock to give up.
You can hear them talking about a potential shock problem. They're going to try and make a chassis adjustment. Now they're going to talk it over, and this could be the end of the day for Adam, but that's why they raised the hood. They wanted to check the front suspension, and they checked the rear as well. So he's obviously got some kind of a handling problem.
Well, if you're not running well, why not use the race to learn?
And that's what I said about Casey earlier. The best thing he can do is get out there and get some laps. And that's going to be important because it'll pay off. It won't pay off today, but it'll pay off in the future.
All right, there are the leaders, Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon, but Dave Blaney had a little bit of a problem in the pits and cost him about 3 or 4 seconds. He is gaining ground. The pole sitter in the Amoco Pontiac now being shown about 2 seconds back and making his way toward the front. Back with more in just a moment. Back at Michigan Speedway, 3 veteran crew chiefs watching intently. Gil Martin watches his driver, Dave Blaney. There's Ray Evernham watching the Pepsi show for Jeff Gordon. And Tony Uri Sr. watching Dale Earnhardt Jr. That's 3rd, 2nd, and 1st place as the battle heats up toward the front. And Earnhardt Jr. makes a move inside of Brett Bodine, but Gordon is right there.
Gordon's trying to figure out which lane to take. He decides that, well, maybe I'll go in the middle. Well, the middle will be basically following Dale Earnhardt Jr. as they exit turn 4.
Now Now from high above, a courtesy of the fine folks of the Outlaw Copter Cam, giving us this panoramic view here in the Irish Hills of Michigan of this very wide and expansive 2-mile D-shaped oval. Where's the third place car, Benny? The 93 car. He's being shown just under 3 seconds back. There he is, the Amoco Pontiac.
He was about 4.5 seconds behind when he first came out of the pits. He now has closed it down to 3 seconds. But during the break, Kyle Petty and I talked, and Kyle brings up an awfully good point that maybe some of it was he gained while those guys were battling with the lap traffic.
Yeah, when you said something a minute ago where they were running 2 and 3 wide down the straightaway, and he was trying to choose a lane, or the 24 car of Gordon was trying to choose a lane. Blaney was still running 173, and they were popping up on the screen at 169. So you can make up some ground pretty quick like that.
Our AutoZone race recap shows you that our leader is Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 24-year-old third-generation driver and defending Busch Series champion. He has led 44 of 76 laps. Lead changes 9, 1 caution for 4 laps. See the average speed down just over 155 miles per hour. Lap leaders, Earnhardt Jr., Dave Blaney, our pole sitter. Jeff Gordon has led 11 laps, and Brett Bodine in the car number 54. Out of race, Terry Labonte has called it a day. Mike Skinner, Kenny Wallace, Rich Bickle in the 91 car, Randy LaJoie, 2-time Busch champion Mark Green, Dr. Pepper Machine, Casey Atwood, the youngster, and Gary Bradbury involved in an incident on lap number 4 coming out of turn 4.
See David Green, the 41 car, AFG Industries, has been lapped. He is in 16th position. There's Blaney. He's now lost a little ground. He's lost about 0.2 of a second to the leaders as he now is catching that same traffic they caught, Kyle.
Blaney's best finish this year coming at Atlanta, where he set on the pole with a new track record in this same car. He finished second to Mark Martin at Atlanta.
Oh, closed up quick on the back bumper of Mike Dillon. Drives down to the inside. Dillon is running in the 20th position.
We mentioned there were 16 cars in the lead lap. The 16th place car is the 32 of Jeff Green, and he is third in the point standings. Now the 4th place car is the 02. That car there, the Pontiac of Ward Burton. That's the Bill Davis owned car. Ward Burton, of course, the pole sitter. The new track record for Sunday's Pepsi 400 here at Michigan. Making only his second Busch start in 1999. He finished second at Dover early in the year. They were at California, but the rains precluded qualifying. Then a good distance back to the 5th place car, Mark Martin.
Mark Martin right now is over 17 seconds behind the leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Never see Mark Martin coming off turn 2. There he went.
Well, Bill Weber, it's been somewhat of a surprise that Mark Martin hasn't been that much of a factor thus far today.
Jerry, it sure has, and the reason is a very loose race car. Mark called in about 5 laps ago and said, it's still loose, it's still loose. If we stop, we have to make an air pressure adjustment, and he wanted several rounds of wedge. Obviously, we've only had 1 caution so far, but they won't stop under green. The only reason they'd come back in if there'd be another caution, and that would help Mark considerably at this point.
Here's a battle for the 7th position as Matt Kenseth loses that spot to the 21 car, the Band-Aid Chevrolet.
All of a sudden, Kenseth, it looks like Kenseth has a problem.
Kenseth probably a half a straightaway behind you.
He's moving over like he's taking a very defensive, like there's something in there. We see the 33 car, Hermie Sadler, goes blowing by. Here comes the 63 car, Bobby Hamilton Jr. Something is wrong with Matt Kenseth's car.
And this could be huge in the total scenario of Busch Series championship points. He came from 30th starting spot to 4th in the field, and now he has lost 5 positions in the last 5
He may have lost a cylinder because you saw how coming off the corner through the center of the car, he was as fast as the cars on the outside of him. So he must be running it wide open, but down the straightaway, they just drive off. So he must be having some type of motor trouble.
Bill Weber.
Yeah, it definitely is an engine problem, and they're starting to pack it up here, so I can't see him on the racetrack. I don't know if he's already headed to the garage, but it looks like the crew's headed that way. Big break for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Bad break for Matt Kenseth. It could be a valve spring problem on the 17 car.
And there's a look at Robbie Reiser. You can see the concern in his eyes. His car and his driver, what a great showing they had for about 60 laps, but now it may go all the way. Back with more from Michigan in just a moment. Back at Michigan Speedway as the laps are winding down here in the NASCAR Busch Series Napa 200. Action coming your way tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Indianapolis Raceway Park presents the Mel Kenyon Classic. Race named in honor of the all-time winningest USAC midget car driver who has 111 career feature wins. That's the Mel Kenyon Classic tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. And speaking of open wheel sensations, how about Dave Blaney? His fourth pole this year, third track record, and he is trying desperately to get his first ever Busch Series win. He sits in third spot. Ray just about 4.5 seconds back.
Well, Doc, they lost just a little bit of time coming in for the pit stop. Bill, I know you lost some time, but are you gaining it back on the racetrack?
Well, Dave's real fast, and he is gaining, but we gave him a couple seconds here, and that's too much. When you got two fast cars like that out front, we're probably not going to catch him. But, you know, good day for these Amoco guys. They come up here and race with the Winston Cup guys and sat on the pole and had a good respectful day.
Well, that's what this Busch Series is really all about, though, right? Learning and getting ready to make that next step.
Oh, I think so. I think that's what the Busch Series is for. You know, these guys have got to come up here and race with the Cup guys to learn how to race. I definitely support the Winston Cup guys running Busch races.
Okay, good. That's Bill Davis. And guys, here, a little factoid for you. Ward Burton on the pole tomorrow, Bill Davis's car there. It's the first time, I believe, ever in NASCAR racing that the same team has won the pole for both races and set a track record. Both cars very, very fast.
Indeed, a pretty good weekend thus far for Bill Davis Racing. Brad Thrower builds the engines in the Busch cars, and they had two cars qualifying the top 5 with him and Ward Burton here in the Busch event. And, of course, Ward Burton on the pole for the Pepsi 400. Speaking of Pepsi cars, Benny, here's Mr. Gordon trying to make a move.
And Jeff Gordon is losing ground to Dale Earnhardt Jr. He now is almost a second and a half. This is the farthest we've seen him from Dale Earnhardt Jr. since they've thrown the green flag. There we see Earnhardt Jr. come up the corner, and there goes Gordon. So right now, Earnhardt Jr. evidently working through this lap traffic a little bit better than Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, he's either working through traffic a little bit better or, you know, something's happened. But the 24 has definitely lost touch with the 3 car, and to lose touch with, you know, 9 or 10 laps to go, this is not the time to be losing touch.
That's Buckshot Jones right behind Jeff Gordon.
And we mentioned Matt Kenseth having his problems. They apparently are down on power. They have a problem internally in the engine, we are being told, and he is about 6 to 7 miles an hour slower as you see Earnhardt Jr. go by to put the DeWalt Chevrolet a lap down. Kenseth now being shown in 10th spot with just 10 laps to go.
But unfortunately, those cars coming there are positions for Matt Kenseth. Both the 4 car of Jeff Purvis, the 00 of Buckshot Jones.
There's Earnhardt Jr., the leader. The 24 car, the blue and white numeral Pepsi Chevrolet for Jeff Gordon. There comes the Amoco colors for the former World of Outlaws champion, 36-year-old Dave Blaney out of Cortland, Ohio.
And that last lap, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was a mile per hour faster than Jeff Gordon, faster than anyone. He was a mile per hour faster than anyone else in the top 6 positions.
And you see there 11 of 22 races have been won from the front row, 5 times from the pole, 6 times from the outside front row. So Earnhardt Jr. started 3rd today. This track's been awfully good to him. He ran his first super speedway Busch start here back in 1997. And was he ever impressive? Any of you remember that day?
Oh, I do remember. I was thinking about that a little bit ago. The first time I ever saw Dale Earnhardt Jr. at this racetrack, he was very, very impressive.
He started 18th, finished 7th, ran in the top 10 all day long with no previous super speedway experience. What you call a natural.
And that's what and that build experience and that build confidence. And that's the main thing. He come up here, he run with Mark Martin the first year, he run with Winston Cup guys. He wasn't as competitive like he is today, but he run right there behind him, and he learned a lot of things. And the confidence that he built from that first race, he comes back here every time, and he's the guy to beat.
See Matt Kenseth now 65 points behind. He's still in 14th position, but he's going to start losing more lap, more positions. Now he's already back to 17th, just as I look. He's going to lose more and more points because as all these other cars catch him and pass him, there's nothing to do about it. And there's still about 10 more cars that are one lap down that have a potential to catch Kenseth and pass him.
And remember, there are just 9 events remaining after today in this Busch Series Championship. We'll follow those points very closely the next few weeks as we go to Bristol, Tennessee next Friday night. Then Darlington on September 4th, and then up to Richmond International Raceway on September 10th. The next 3 consecutive Busch Series events. Coverage on ESPN and ESPN2. I'll take a look at the average finishes there between Junior, Kenseth, and Jeff Green, the top 3 in points. Pretty darn close.
Yeah. That's incredibly close to think you've got 3 different drivers, 3 different teams, and they're all doing the same things on the racetrack. That speaks highly of the Busch Series.
And if you're wondering about Jeff Green, the 3rd place point man, he is in 16th position, 1 lap down.
There's Elliott Sadler, the 35 car, about to go another lap down.
And here's Mike McLaughlin in the car number 34, the Gould's Pumps Chevrolet. Right?
Well, Jerry, this time last year we were talking about McLaughlin trying to get in the championship chase. He's certainly out of that this year, comes in 8th in points. But they announced yesterday that Mike would be going to another team next year. He will teammate with Andy Santerre at Innovative Motorsports. So Mike McLaughlin making a move, and that kind of begins the silly season in the Busch Series. Lots of guys trying to look around to see where they'll be next year. That leaves the 34 car open, and a lot of guys would like to drive for that team. But by Phil Parsons not making the race today, he loses or has the shot at losing the record for the most consecutive starts in a row. Phil had 144 coming into today. Today is Mike McLaughlin's 142nd start consecutively. So this is one of the Iron Men of the series, but he will be changing rides next year.
And congratulations to Mike and wife Katie. They're expecting their first child on March 14th, Katie was telling me. So they are expecting, and Mike McLaughlin's expecting better luck next year with that new ride with George Devidar at Innovative Motorsports. 4 laps to go here at Michigan Speedway. Laps winding down. The 8th annual Napa 200.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. still leads with 3 laps to go, and now Jeff Gordon is 3 seconds behind the leader. Just a little bit ago, Kenseth was 65 points behind Earnhardt Jr. He's dropped now 83 points back. He's lost 18 points in the last 3 or 4 laps.
And we mentioned the not that many races left. He just loses another spot. That's another handful of points. 3 laps to go for Earnhardt Jr. Now as they flash by, it'll be 2 to go.
You know, we saw Earnhardt Jr.'s car earlier work on the high side and work on the low side. Saw how strong he was up off 2. As the laps have gone on, he's done nothing but get stronger and stronger and worked in 2 more grooves. He's got 3 or 4 grooves where Jeff and those guys have to run in the middle of the racetrack or have to run to the high side more as their tires go away. He's a lot better, and I think that's why he's been able to stretch it out to 2 or 3 second lead over the 2nd place guy.
There's a 2nd place guy, Jeff Gordon, making his 4th start in 1999 in the Pepsi Gordon Evernham Motorsports Chevrolet. That's the Busch Series car with Jeff Purvis right behind him.
Kind of just interesting to see what they might learn today. Jeff Gordon, Ray Evernham, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and his team that would help them in tomorrow's 400-mile race.
And here's a battle for 6th position on the final lap. Left side of your screen, Jeff Burton. Right side, Michael Waltrip.
Battle for 6th and 7th. And here comes Earnhardt Jr. down in turn 3 for the last time.
And you know, you talk about Ray Abraham learning. You expect Ray Abraham and Jeff Gordon to learn something from the Busch race. I just hope Dale Earnhardt Jr. doesn't learn anything from this and come out tomorrow and do this to all the Winston Cup guys.
Well, they will wave the checkered flag for the 3rd generation driver for the 5th time in 1999 and the 1st time at Michigan Speedway. Dale Earnhardt Jr. wins the Napa 200. Now let's see this battle for 6th position on the final lap. Jeff Burton on a Ford, car number 9. Here comes Michael Waltrip in a Chevrolet. Michael's trying, but can he get there? Half a car length, and
yes,
I believe he did.
I think Michael got the position, so put Michael Waltrip in 6th spot. Let's go down to the Earnhardt pit. Bill Weber standing by with Tony Eury.
And Tony Eury Sr., another outstanding day for your driver. Another great car you put him in.
Yeah, seems like it's the same car just about every time. Ron Hunter did a great job on the engine today, and we got to thank AC Delco, Nabisco, Snap-on, Burger King, everybody supporting us, and we couldn't let AC Delco down. We're working hard on that Budweiser car over there, and
how's he been able to do going back and forth between both garages?
He done real good. We've been picking out points for throttles and reminding him and stuff like that. It's a lot of difference between them 2 cars here at Michigan, and kind of busted our crew up. Tony Jr.'s been trying to do the Budweiser car and trying to help me on the AC Delco car, and I've been trying to help him on the Budweiser car. So we've been split up, and we just split our crew, just told one part stay here and one part stay there. Me and him and J.O.'s been running back and forth, but everything's working out good. Budweiser car's running good too, so Ray come over here and played our game today. We beat him. We're going to go over and play his game tomorrow, see if we can beat him over there.
Best of luck tomorrow. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Tony Eury Sr. and the entire AC Delco crew on their way to victory lane.
Boy, has Michigan Speedway been good to this young man. His first Super Speedway start, an incredible IROC finish back in June, and a victory today. Back to talk to him in a moment.
For it, you're asking for it.
Back at Michigan Speedway here in Brooklyn, Michigan, the Napa 200 is history. There stands Dad, and there's the 3rd generation driver, Dale Earnhardt Jr., victorious as we go down to our McDonald's winner's circle and Bill Weber.
You can certainly tell the emotion. Father and son in victory lane. We've seen this here before, but today you're a winner again. Congratulations.
Well, I got to hand it to Tony and Keith, our tire guy, for working with this new tire that Goodyear's give us. It's been kind of difficult. We had to change the setup quite a bit, and the car was a handful there a couple times, but we adjusted on it, and Tony made some good calls, and I just had to drive it. I mean, it's a pleasure to drive every time I get in it, and I'm thrilled to be in victory lane again.
Another outstanding performance, Dale.
I can get used to this being a car owner stuff. I'm going to drive for a few more years, but he's getting ready here. I'm going to enjoy this.
How about the adjustments he had to make this weekend, winning on a weekend when running both sides of the garage?
Well, that shows the team, Tony and all the guys are up to it. Now, if he don't wear out on us tomorrow, we'll be okay, but the guys did a great job.
There are tremendous differences between the 2 cars, but can you learn anything today to give you more experience toward tomorrow?
Most definitely. We learned a lot. See, they gave us a new tire this weekend. We learned a lot about it on long runs and what's the tire's characteristics after 50 or 60 laps. So that's going to help us a lot tomorrow. We were quite loose on the long run. The car started out real good and got loose after about 40 laps. And we'll work on our Cup car and see if we can't see the same symptoms and try to correct them the same way we did here. So we're just real happy. AC Delco, we're still trying to stay on top to win this championship again for you. And, I got to hats off to my crew. They do a good job putting together great race cars.
It seems like just yesterday we were back in that Busch garage. You were running some race here and you finished 7th. You were just a young kid with a bright future.
Yeah, but I knew right away when I got on the track I like Michigan. And I'm glad to win here in the Busch Series because this is my home. And man, it was a great race. I really enjoyed racing Jeff Gordon. He's a class act. Had a lot of fun with him, trading around, trading spots, and working together. And it's a great race. It's a shame the cars weren't more competitive together. It's a lot of fun racing him.
Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in victory lane, plus picks up a lot of points in the chase for that 2nd consecutive Busch Series championship.
Well, add in another Earnhardt next week as the oldest son, Kerry, gets back in a NASCAR Busch Series car with the Team Marines colors and Ed Whitaker Chevrolet. We'll be there at Thunder Valley. NASCAR Winston Cup Bud Pole qualifying at 5 Eastern Time, RPM tonight, and our live flag-to-flag coverage of the Food City 250 at 7 Eastern Time. Back with more in a moment. Well, tonight it's a preseason NFL special at 8:15 Eastern Time as the Dallas Cowboys take on the New England Patriots. Our live coverage, of course, begins with NFL Tonight at 7:30 Eastern Time on ESPN2. NFL Tonight, a preseason special, Cowboys and Patriots, 8:15 Eastern Time. Mike Patrick and all the crew. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com. Let's go down to Ray Dunlap and check in with our second-place finisher.
Race run for Jeff Gordon in the Pepsi Chevy. Jeff, Little Earnhardt had you covered today, didn't he?
Yeah, he was shocked. They did a great job. You know, we just didn't have anything at the end. But I'm real proud of this Gordon Everytime Motorsports. Patrick Donahue, Michael Lance, all these guys work really, really hard to do these few races that we do. But they did a great job this week, and we were really strong through the corners. And, you know, we got a little bit of work left to do, but I was a little bit loose, and Dale Jr. was loose there at the beginning also, and I thought, well, let's just tighten it up. And when I tightened it up, I just wasn't as good. So I was better off being loose. I wish we could have made one more stop. We might have had something for him. But I want to thank Pepsi and Fritos. This has been a lot of fun.
Brand new tire this year for both divisions. Were you able to learn anything today that'll help you for tomorrow?
Well, you know, I learned a little bit this morning in practice with the Winston Cup car, but the Busch car is so much different. There's so much less horsepower in the Busch car that, you know, you've got to set the cars up quite a bit different. And I'm sure the Cup cars are going to be pretty loose to start out with, but they should be pretty good on the longer runs.
Okay, that's Jeff Gordon, finishes second today at Michigan.
All right, what an effort by Gordon, and what a crowd as they jammed their way in the beautiful Michigan Speedway under almost a cloudless sky. Beautiful afternoon. What a show they saw in NASCAR Busch competition. Back in a moment.
Did you children's story and wonder if...
We're here at a NASCAR race to take a survey. First question, does anyone sell as many high-quality auto parts as Napa? That'd be a no. Does anyone sell more hard-to-find parts than Napa? No again. Does anyone have as many ASE certified employees? Last question, would you like to get paid for this survey? Just checking. Napa, over 200,000 parts, and everyone's important.
Our ESPN coverage of the NASCAR Busch Series Napa 200 has been brought to you by Circuit City. Answers in every department, low prices all over the store. And by the Outlaw Performance Fuel Additives, proudly endorsed by Dale Earnhardt Jr. Let's go down to the pits and Ray Dunlap.
Well, Doc, Dave Blaney stands about 65 feet from victory lane right now. I know you'd love to be over there. It was another valiant effort from your team today, but you ran with some of the best of them, and I know you're satisfied.
Yeah, it might as well be 65 miles. No, we are satisfied. Man, I'm thankful for the whole Amoco team. Man, they've got a good race team here. Gil Martin and all my guys, and man, the motor shop's putting out some awesome stuff. And you know, I got to thank Bill and Gail for sticking me in this thing and sticking with me. And we can just hang like that every week and race them like that every week. We'll get some here.
I said at the top of the show, I think your team could be considered as the most improved in all of stock car racing right now. The stat I used at the top of the show was your 51st stock car start. Incredible how well you've adapted.
Well, I'm learning. You know, I'm learning every time out. I got good people around me. I got, you know, Ward Burton's team and him to lean on, and they put you in good cars that makes a difference, and they certainly got me in good stuff.
Okay, good luck for the rest of the year, and Dave Blaney gets ready to go up to Winston Cup in the year 2000.
All right, Dave Blaney's third top five of the year. Take a look at our results unofficially, of course, here with 9 cars finishing on the lead lap. Kevin LePage, pretty good run in the Lear Ford today. Spencer and LePage, 8th and 9th spot. 43 cars started today. Bobby Hamilton Jr. finishing in 23rd spot, the last car 1 lap down, and a tough break for Matt Kenseth finishing in 22nd spot. He came in just 1 point out of a tie for the Busch Series points lead. The remainder of our starting field of 43, you'll see that Adam Petty, Terry Labonte, Mike Skinner, and a host of others did not finish here this afternoon. When we come back, we'll take a look at the updated NASCAR Busch Series points as we head to Thunder Valley next Friday night in Bristol, Tennessee, where it could really get mixed up. Back in a moment. Back in Michigan Speedway, celebration ongoing in Victory Lane. Now we've got some kart FedEx action coming your way tonight. Qualifying at 6 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN2. Tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. Kart today on ESPN2. Then at 4 Eastern time on ABC Sports, the Target Grand Prix of Chicago for the Kart FedEx Championship Series. Well, we'll take a look at the point standings after 22 events. With just 9 remaining, Dale Earnhardt Jr. opening up a fairly comfortable lead. Benny Parsons, 89 points.
89 points. Matt Kenseth had that engine problem, and we see lost 88 points today to the leader. Jeff Green lost some points. He's now 168 back. It looks like the championship will be decided between those 3 drivers.
And speaking of Matt Kenseth, finishing back in 22nd spot, Bill Weber is standing by with him.
And Matt has just climbed into his Winston Cup car, and I know you're focused on this race already, Matt, but obviously disappointment in what happened here this afternoon.
Yeah, it was definitely disappointing. The DeWalt Chevy ran really good. I was really happy the car performed good all weekend. Just wasn't very fast in qualifying trim. Had some type of part break in the motor today. I don't know if it was a valve spring or what, but motor builder's been doing a great job this year. It's the first failure we've had. So let's have to take it and go to Bristol.
And, Matt, you have run so well, people are automatically going to point to this weekend as saying, well, they tried to do both races and bit off more than they could chew.
Well, you know, there's nothing we can do about parts failure. And, you know, besides qualifying, our car performed really good today. We were as good or better than leaders a lot of the day. Just this is usually a caution-free race, so it was real hard to get to the front. And I'm real proud of qualifying 25th with the DeWalt Ford for the Winston Cup race. And this thing's running pretty good, so I'm pretty excited about tomorrow.
Best of luck Sunday afternoon.
Thanks, Bill.
Let's go to Ray.
Well, Bill, for the 9th time this year, Jeff Burton gets another top 10 in the Busch Grand National Series. But at the top of the show, I said there'd be a Roush car in Victory Lane. I think I missed the boat a little bit.
You didn't do your research very well, I guess. We just weren't as good today with the track gear Ford as we hoped to be. We actually were a lot better today than we were yesterday. I really was worried about it when I went to sleep last night. Tommy Morgan and all those guys we did a lot of changes to the car today, and they made it better. We actually we had a 5th place, 5th, 6th, 7th place car. We finished 7th. We ran over something, had a tire going down, had a little leak in it at the end, so that hurt us one spot. But it wasn't the best day. But I keep telling everybody, the Busch guys are really good, and these races aren't easy to win. Just because you're a Winston Cup guy doesn't mean you will go in there and win those races. We work real hard on that Busch programs. When we don't hit the setups, we don't win. And just like everybody else, you got to handle well. When you don't handle well, you can't win.
Fastest car in 2nd round for the Winston Cup race for tomorrow's race. Do you have a car good enough to work your way to the front?
We did this morning. We had an exceptional car this morning. If we can carry that over till this afternoon and tomorrow, then we can. I was real happy with our lap. We never worked on qualifying at all this morning. We worked on race stuff the whole time. We threw that qualifying setup back in it and never made a lap other than when we actually made our timed lap. And that was the fastest of the second day. So we're pretty proud of that. Had a great practice this morning, ran a lot of laps, and feel pretty good about it.
Okay, have a good day tomorrow. Now let's go back to Bill. I believe he caught up with Michael Waltrip.
Michael starts 20th tomorrow. He's in his Winston Cup car, but a dramatic 6th place finish for you here moments ago.
Well, you got to get all you can get, and the best I could get was 6th there at the end. The Band-Aid Chevy was right the first half of the race. My radios went out, and I couldn't make an adjustment, and our Monte Carlo got a little bit loose there at the end, but a real competitive run for us. Looking forward to tomorrow. This Phillips Electronics car is running good. Want to say hello to Miss Matei, Jim's mom. Sweetest lady in the whole world, and she was in the hospital for a few days, but she's doing good now, and we just want to tell her we're thinking about her.
Michael, everybody's talking about tires in the Busch race. What about the Winston Cup race?
They're different. They're definitely different. They make the car really react to whatever you do to the steering wheel and the gas, too. So if you hit the gas or turn the wheel, the thing wants to jump around a little bit, and to get around corners, you have to do a lot of that. So you're constantly working with it. I think it's a better tire. We put so much pressure on that right front tire here in June, just pushing the thing off the turn. Now it's allowed us to use the back end to steer it a little bit. It's a little bit out of control sometimes, but I believe the guy that gets the setup right is going to be really happy with his tire.
Okay, give us some more of that dramatic racing again tomorrow with your radio working.
With my radio working, and maybe for a little better than 6th. Would that be better?
That'd be much better. Best of luck.
Thanks a lot.
That's Michael Waltrip. He starts 20th tomorrow. The guy that starts on the pole is Ward Burton. He's with Ray.
He sure is, Bill. He finished 4th today in the Siemens car. That was a pretty good run, Ward, but I know now you're focused on tomorrow. How good is this Caterpillar car?
Well, we got to get it handled a little bit better. It's good. I mean, it's one of the top guys, top cars, but we got to get in the ground where I feel a little bit more comfortable and I can pull a car and just get it under me a little bit better so I can run on 400 miles. But guys did a good job in my Siemens car today, and we're looking for good things tomorrow.
How much different is the setup in the Winston Cup car for the race than it was for the way you had it for qualifying?
It's quite a bit different. I would like to be able to run that setup, but I'm afraid that setup won't run but a couple of laps, probably just one.
Yeah, and guys, yesterday you might have remembered Dale Jarrett said there's no way he was going to run as fast as Ward did. Set a new track record in qualifying. He's on the pole tomorrow.
All right, lots of racing action yet to come your way this weekend from here at Michigan Speedway. Happy Hour, NASCAR Winston Cup version, 7 o'clock Eastern time on the Deuce tonight. RPM tonight, wrapping up all the racing action, including last night's exciting NASCAR Craftsman truck win by Greg Biffle out at Gateway Speedway in St. Louis. Of course, tomorrow's action, RPM today, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. NASCAR today with Bill Weber setting the stage for Bob Jenkins and Ned Jarrett to step in with the rest of our crowd for live flag-to-flag coverage of the 30th running of the NASCAR Winston Cup Pepsi 400 at 12:30 Eastern time, RPM tonight, wrapping it up at 9 Eastern on the Deuce. Let's check in once again with Ray.
Well, Doc, I hope everyone will join tomorrow as we get ready for NASCAR Today. We're the pre-race show to the Winston Cup race. A half hour before every NASCAR race takes the green flag, we'll be on tomorrow to bring you all the stories. Ward Burton on the pole. We'll be ready tomorrow. Now to Bill Weber.
Some outstanding qualifying performances here on Friday. That's performance. Now comes pressure. A number of guys in the top 15 have never won or haven't been to victory lane in a long time. Tomorrow, they face the pressure of following up that performance. Can they have a good finish to a great start? We'll see, Jerry.
All right, what an exciting day for the NASCAR Busch Series here at Michigan Speedway. Their 8th visit here in the Napa 200, and it got hot and heavy in a hurry in the early laps. It didn't take long for the action, lap 4, with Gary Bradbury's contact with the wall. That by virtue of Kenny Irwin as Tony Uri Sr. looked on. And here was one of the battles today. Dave Blaney, the pole sitter. And of course, Ray Evernham knew his Pepsi car would be a factor. But it might have been this miscue in the pits. That tire rolled right in front of the Jackman, and Bill Davis was not happy because his driver would have to settle for 3rd spot. Robbie Reiser, his disappointment today for losing points. But it was Dale Earnhardt Jr. who won it all. For Ray Dunlap, Bill Weber, Kyle Petty, and Benny Parsons, I'm Jerry Putch, congratulating.
What is in qualifying, so that's what it counts.
Great job.
Thank you. Ciao.
Max Pappas has the pole. There's going to be a lot of work being done on these cars overnight.
We'll welcome you to Michigan Speedway. Tomorrow is the Pepsi 400. This is Happy Hour. The last opportunity for the drivers to dial in their cars for tomorrow's race. Now, our coverage on Sunday will begin with RPM Today at 11:30. NASCAR Today is at noon, both on the Deuce. The Pepsi 400 is on ESPN at 12:30. And RPM Tonight will wrap up the day at 9 o'clock tomorrow night. The cars are on the racetrack. Happy Hour has begun. Bill Weber begins his work from the garage area.
Well, Bob, everybody knows about Happy Hour, 60 minutes of fun and games where these 43 teams work very hard to try and get the right setup, working on springs, shocks, trying to make the car handle. But we're facing another very interesting situation. It used to be unique, but for these teams, this is the 2nd week in a row when they'll actually be having Happy Hour during a portion of the day when the race will be going on. In fact, here at Michigan, this should be the very latter portion of the day, the very late stages of the race, when teams will know what track conditions will be like. The forecast for tomorrow, very similar to what it was Saturday afternoon. Sunny skies, temperatures in the upper 70s. So the teams have the right time and the right conditions. Now the question is, can they find the right setup to win here at Michigan?
Just an absolutely beautiful day here in the Irish Hills of southern Michigan as we jump on board with Rusty Wallace. He and several others out there down the backstretch. That's Sterling Marlin ahead. He just passed Jeff Gordon, and there's John Andretti to the left. Ned and I are up here in the booth, and we're glad to welcome back Benny Parsons.
Well, thank you very much. And he didn't pass Jeff Gordon. He blew right by him. Let's check the telemetry on a board with Rusty Wallace as he accelerates down the fastest part of this racetrack, down the front stretch. He sees up to 189, 90, 93, 95. Almost 200
almost
miles
made it. Telemetry courtesy of State Fair Corn Dogs. And Rusty drops in behind Sterling.
He decides to drop out, and you'll see that the backstretch is much slower than the front stretch. As a matter of fact, that time 8 miles per hour.
There's a little bit of a tailwind going from turn 4 down into turn 1. That will help a little bit, but turn 1 is always, going into turn 1 is the fastest place on the racetrack anyway as Rusty heads into the pit area.
Rusty Wallace qualified at 186.955 yesterday, has the 10th starting spot for tomorrow's race. Now the 36 car there that is on the high side of Wally Dallenbach is being driven this weekend by Dick Trickle. If you haven't heard, Ernie Irvan was involved in a crash here at the Speedway yesterday morning in Busch practice. He was taken to the hospital, but the reports are very favorable. We told you yesterday that he had a bruised lung and a mild head injury, neither of which will require any surgery. And we understand that he could be released from the hospital very soon. So that is the very good news about Ernie Irvan. The Dick Trickle qualified that car well yesterday in 15th position.
A great qualifying run with no more practice than Trickle was able to get in the M&M's car.
There's Chad Little up on the inside and John Andretti.
They like to run as close to other cars as they can in this practice because, of course, at the start of the race and hopefully during the race they'll be running very, very close together.
Looks like Trickle is going to be coming back into the garage area. He'll be jumping in behind Bobby Labonte, who also is coming in. Here is the Ernie Irvan incident from yesterday. It was in turn number 4. Hard impact on the driver's side of the car.
Of course, that was in the Busch car.
We understand that Ernie was unconscious for about 20 minutes. He was extricated, but there was our first indication that he was awake because he raised his arm up to his mouth where he was had an oxygen mask on. He was airlifted to the hospital in Ann Arbor, and apparently things are going very well. I talked to Max Helton yesterday, and he spent most of the day with him and says Ernie is doing just fine. Back down to Bill Weber.
Well, among the early returnees to the garage is Jeff Gordon, the reigning Winston Cup champion, and he said basically his car is really sliding, really pushing the nose, also loose at some conditions, and said there was a point in the track where he felt it might even want to spin out in the middle of the turn. So they brought the DuPont Chevy back in. They're going to try and fix that and send him back out. Dale Jarrett is also back in the garage after a couple of laps, along with Bobby Labonte and Dale Earnhardt.
Now that is a tough problem to fix when the back and front both are sliding across the racetrack, when the car is pushing and loose at the same time. That's when they really have to work cut out for them, trying to fix that problem.
But Jeff and Ray go to work and try to dial the car in just a little bit better. Right now, Jeff is 7th fastest in the happy hour. Here is the grid for tomorrow. Ward Burton got his first pole of 1999 at record speed yesterday, exceeding 188.8 miles an hour. Mike Skinner will be alongside. You see the top 15 there, including Bill Elliott, who has 7 wins here at this facility, and Dick Trickle, who qualified 15th. Here's 16 through 30 now. Chad Little leads that category. Matt Kenseth got the 25th and final locked-in position after round 1 yesterday, and these speeds now reflect the rest of the grid, and some of them stayed on their times. We had a few requalify, and the provisionals go to some pretty top-name drivers here. I mean, we're talking Tony Stewart, Dale Earnhardt, Terry Labonte, Bobby Hamilton, Johnny Benson, Kyle Petty, and Rich Bickle, all of those taking provisionals. And also an impressive list of drivers that went home. Darrell Waltrip, of course, he is out of provisionals until Darlington. He missed the field. So did Brett Bodine, Derek Cope, Stanton Barrett, and Tom Hubert. Happy Hour continues here at Michigan Speedway, and we'll be back with more of it.
It's time to face the facts, ma'am. That battery is passed on to a better place. At Advanced Auto Parts, it's our job to help this woman find a new battery at a great price. And if she can get down here, we'll install it for her free of charge. For this is the role we play in the automotive circle of life.
Welcome back to Michigan Speedway. It's happy hour for the Pepsi 400. We have Dave Marcus, Matt Kenseth, and Tony Stewart running on the racetrack together.
And Tony Stewart has come from a long way back to catch those two cars. He passed a lot of good cars that have since gone into the garage area to work on their cars. But he's going to have to come from a long way back tomorrow, too, from his starting position. But his car really looks good now. He's third fastest in practice at over 180 miles an hour. And Ward Burton is fastest, then Mike Skinner. They're the two who are starting up front. Two of those.
And Tony Stewart chose to take a provisional and work on his race setup this morning rather than re-qualify. Again, that's the reason that he started so far back. But you're right, back in about 37th, 38th position, he'll have to work his way. But he has worked all day on this race setup, trying to get it right. It looks like, Ned, you're right, it's pretty good.
And one place that is good, see him come up and try to get on the inside of Dave Marcus coming off of the corner. He just, the car seems to stick well down on the inside and accelerates well off the turns, and that's what you need here at the Michigan Speedway.
Tony Stewart, of course, joining the Winston Cup ranks after beginning his racing career in the USAC ranks. As a matter of fact, I think he is a two-time champion of the Mel Kenyon Classic, which you can see tonight at 8:30 here on the Deuce from Indianapolis Raceway Park as we continue our Thunder Series for 1999. The USAC MCI WorldCom Midget cars in the Mel Kenyon Classic, 8:30 tonight here on the Deuce. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Part of the Go Network, go.com.
See Elliott Sadler in the 21 car, Robert Presley, and Kenny Irwin,
who I think also is a former winner of the Mel Kenyon Classic.
Yeah. See that Robert Presley car? I was watching. He was following Mark Martin a little bit earlier, about 5 minutes ago. So Robert has been out there a while, but he passed Mark Martin and pulled away from him. So apparently Robert has a good car here. He'll be starting back in the 27th position. He was the last car to get bumped yesterday, and then Jeff Burton requalified today. So he was the fastest second-round qualifier. He'll start 26th.
Dr. Jerry Punch joins our coverage from the garage area. Doc?
And Mike Skinner has climbed out of his low Chevrolet. Mike, I heard a very lengthy conversation with you and Larry McReynolds about some changes. How much has the track changed?
You know, the racetrack's just loose. You know, it's pretty loose right now. We're trying to tighten the low Chevrolet up a little bit. It's pretty fast, but it's just not going to be that stable with other cars around it. So we're trying to get her snugged up a little bit without hurting the thing behind cars. It's pretty hard to do.
We commented yesterday in Bud Pole qualifying how much the stagger change with its new tires had sort of played havoc with a lot of the setup stuff, but it will be more of a problem for race day because of maybe the warmer temperatures.
You know, I don't think we have one thing on our race car that we ran on the other tires. I think everything we got is different. So we might have maybe one shock on it that's the same, but we've changed everything. But we ran so poorly here in the past that we needed to change everything. We didn't want to come back with our standard package that we ran terrible with every time. So we took it set up more like it was at Pocono.
Hey, good luck. Good luck. You had a good run at Pocono. Maybe the first win will come tomorrow here.
Well, I'd like to get a good finish tomorrow. That'd be good.
All right, Mike Skinner will start outside the front row. We'll back out of the garage. Pretty hectic pace down here in the garage area, guys. A lot of changes on these cars following that 200-mile Busch Series event.
Mike's best finish here at Michigan in Winston Cup competition was in the June race this year. He finished in 18th position. Jeff Gordon is back out on the racetrack, now 7th quick in the happy hour speeds.
See if he and Ray and the boys have been able to cure that problem of both the front and rear sliding. Goes by Bobby Hamilton, the Kodak film, Chevrolet.
And right there, the car looks pretty stable.
Sure does.
Well, as far as those in the top 5 in points, the winningest driver here at Michigan Speedway is Mark Martin, and he is almost the leader as far as an average finish is concerned. Bobby Labonte has the best, or Jeff Gordon has the best average finish, 4.6. Bobby Labonte at 10.7, and then Martin at 10.8. But Mark Martin with 4 wins here at this racetrack. Down to Bill Weber.
And this morning, Mark Martin told me this is his favorite racetrack. He loves these wide open tracks where you can really work the car. Right now, he wants his car a little bit tighter. They're going to change the right front shock They were also talking about what to do on the rear shocks. They wanted to make a change back there as well just to try something out. What they decided to do is they're going to take the left rear shock and put it on the right rear and see if that gives Mark a little better feel and a little tighter race car.
Looks like, to me, Mark Martin, no, I thought he had some tape around this end of his glove. Of course, I can't see very well, but I thought he had a piece of tape.
You would have to bring that up.
Sometimes a driver, they will put a piece of tape around the cuff of their glove because on the racetrack, that cuff will sometimes grab hold of the seatbelt and undo the seatbelt while they're on the racetrack.
Well, Benny has, of course, been out of commission last weekend at Watkins Glen because of eye surgery, but we're glad to have him back here in the booth at Michigan for today and also tomorrow. Mark Martin finished in the Busch race today in 5th position. He looks for another win in the Pepsi 400 tomorrow.
What's the hottest NASCAR pub?
At the stage for the event at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning on the Deuce, and then you can see the Target Grand Prix of Chicago. The very first race at Chicago Motor Speedway. It'll be on ABC at 4 o'clock Eastern tomorrow afternoon. And congratulations to Jan and Jennifer Beekes. Jan, of course, a regular member of the Kart FedEx Championship Series coverage team. Jan and Jennifer have a new baby girl, and all are doing well. Congratulations. For more, at least on the race, log on to ESPN.com. Part of the Go Network, go.com.
You mean there's no pictures of the baby on there?
Probably not, although there might be. All right, here's John Andretti moving down the backstretch.
Had a good lap. He's 6th fastest so far in this happy hour practice.
Had a good lap during qualifying yesterday, too. Was 8th quick. He'll line up on the outside of row number 4. But here is the man of the day as far as the Busch race is concerned at Michigan Speedway earlier today. Dale Earnhardt won again, and he'll be participating in the Pepsi 400 tomorrow also in this Budweiser-sponsored number 8. He'll start 17th tomorrow. More on his dad from Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, Bob, they are not very happy out here in the GM Goodrich Chevrolet garage area. Dale Earnhardt Sr. will start with a provisional starting spot back in 38th. But he's got pretty good company back there. There are 3 drivers in the top 9 in points who are taking provisionals. He, along with Tony Stewart and Terry Labonte. Now, I talked to Earnhardt Sr. a moment ago, and this is a brand-new race car. They've been trying to work out the bugs all weekend. Obviously, it didn't do well in qualifying, but he is not happy at all with how the car is handling on the racetrack. It is not comfortable at all. They are changing front shocks, front springs. They're trying to get the car dialed in, but you could tell Dale was very frustrated sitting in the seat and sitting here in the garage area with now the car, all 4 wheels up on the scales, trying to get it dialed in, but not a good scene thus far for the 7-time Winston Cup champion. For more on Mark Martin, let's check in with Bill.
And Mark Martin is just now rolling out to go back out on the racetrack. We told you they want to take the left rear shock and put it on the right side. What were they going to do about the left rear shock? Well, Mark wanted a special shock put on there. They didn't have it in the rig. He said maybe the 60 Busch car would have it, but they didn't want to go over there. Jimmy Fennick instead, in the short amount of time, built the shock, brought it over, they mounted it on the car, and now Mark's going to go test that. Mark called him the fastest shock builder in the garage.
Yeah, well, I thought that was pretty involved building those shocks.
Yeah, it is a pretty involved situation, but for the fans that might be relatively new to NASCAR Winston Cup racing, every one of those trucks down there have a shock dyno on them. And so they can build those shocks and check them out, the strength, and be sure that they got them right with that dyno. And I tell you, the technology has come a long way in this business.
So far, Ward Burton and Mike Skinner, who will start 1st and 2nd tomorrow, are 1st and 2nd in terms of speed here in Happy Hour. But look at Tony Stewart. He is up to 3rds in speed so far. John Andretti and Rusty Wallace round out the top 5. And let's talk to the pole sitter for tomorrow's race, Ward Burton.
Well, Ward, you picked up in Happy Hour thus far where you left off yesterday in qualifying at the very top of the heap. You got to be pleased.
Car is pretty good. It's rocket ship down the straightaway. I got to get it handled a little bit better, Jerry. Entering the corner and exiting the corner. Track is really slick out there right now, and I'm not the only one having this problem. But the guy that does the homework best today and in the morning is going to be the one to stay out front. But man, my Caterpillar team, they've been doing a great job. Really proud of them.
You just ran a 200-mile Busch race on these same tires. Did you learn something that will help you here in Happy Hour and for tomorrow in the race?
Yeah, I think so. basically what's the problem everybody's having is when you enter the corner, let off the throttle and try to turn the wheel, the back end wants to come out right there. That's not a good feeling for a driver. So everybody's trying in their own way to solve that problem.
So speed's not a problem. You're still looking for comfort. Anything major you're going to change on the car?
Changing all 4 shocks right now, so get over here and try them.
All right, Tommy Baldwin and the crew just yelled for him to come back and jump in. We'll see if the 4 shocks make a difference in the car turning in the corner, but he certainly has the straightaway speed.
Ward still in his Busch uniform. He finished 4th in the Napa 200 Busch race held earlier today. A lot of cars out there on the backstretch. There's Mike Skinner, David Green, and Bill Elliott.
Boy, Bill Elliott used to have some great runs at this speedway back in the 80s.
Sure
He was a master of Michigan.
He had a good run here in June as well. Until he had some problems that I don't know where he wound up finishing, but he still ran good again. Not with the dominance that he once has shown at this speedway. And you can see what the jockeying around and look like Mike Skinner's car was a little bit loose once again. I don't think I remember seeing as many cars and drivers having as much problem getting their cars dialed in as we're seeing right here in this what is not really a happy hour for most drivers.
Bill Elliott, a 7-time winner here at Michigan. We talked about Tony Stewart. Look through the first 21 races in these individual drivers' rookie years. Dale Earnhardt in 1979 had an average finish of 10.9, the same as Tony Stewart. Stewart has 5 top 5 finishes so far in 1999. Bill Weber is in the Tony Stewart garage.
Well, it was a frustrating Friday for this group, but as it's turned into a very swift Saturday with Greg Zipadelli as they get ready to send Tony back out on the track. Your first career provisional for your driver, but your car is 3rd fastest in happy hour. What is the difference?
We just really couldn't get the tire figured out in the qualifying run. Tony wasn't very comfortable with it, and I wasn't able to get him what he needed. This morning we were really good in practice, and we seem to have a really good car tonight, so we'll just have to be patient tomorrow and get the Home Depot Pontiac up to the front.
So you're optimistic you can post another strong finish here despite your starting spot?
Yeah, you can pass here if you've got a good car. Tony's got some patience, and we sure to have a good car right now, so we'll have to see tomorrow.
All right, looking for another good weekend. Best of luck to Greg Zipadelli and Tony Stewart. Tony heads back out on the track. Where Greg is going is on top of their rig in the garage so he can watch his driver circle this 2-mile speedway.
Tony starts 37th, got the first provisional for tomorrow's race. Well, the 9 car of Jerry Nadeau coloring the WCW colors this week had his best career finish at Watkins Glen. Drove a very steady and fine race. He's 25th fastest here in happy hour.
He did have a great run there last week. Coming into the pits, it looks like now.
Well, Mark's out checking that new left rear shock that Jimmy Finning just built, and
look what just happened, BP.
He moved up to the top of the heap in the speeds for happy hour, so Jimmy Finning must have done a terrific job on that shock.
There are the numbers, 181.159, and Mark Martin is now the fastest in happy hour, displacing Ward Burton from the top of the list. We'll have more coverage from Michigan in a moment. Welcome back to Michigan Speedway. This is happy hour for tomorrow's Pepsi 400. Rusty Wallace will start in 10th place tomorrow. He's in the garage area, and Jerry Punch is right there.
Let's grab a quick comment from Rusty. Rusty, a lot of concern over these cars going into the corner.
Everybody's loose. I'm real loose getting in the corner right now, and the tire, I guess it's a good tire, but it's got so doggone much tire stagger, it's making the cars too loose getting in, and we're just fighting that really hard right now.
It seems like you're in the majority in that fighting the car. You've made a number of adjustments with track bar and spring and now some air pressure and changed tires. Any idea how you can correct it?
Well, we've done everything in the world to try to get the tire pressures moved around enough to try to get that stagger out of it. That doesn't seem to be helping it. The cars, they get in a corner no matter what spring you got. The right front gets down on them. The rear end gets off from underneath you getting into the corner, and then from the center out, you're pushing. So it's a tough deal. We got a couple ideas. We're still working.
All right, Rusty Wallace still working. What they're trying to do, Vinny and Ned, is they're trying to get the left rear tire pressure to build up That's why they came in a moment ago, and they're not getting the pressure built up on the left side, so the split is becoming greater, which accentuates the problem. They've made adjustments here by putting a rubber in the right rear. They've made a right front spring change and a track bar adjustment, and we'll see if Rusty has the same problems again that we're seeing with Warren Burton and Mike Skinner, that is loose entering the corner.
Going to be interesting tomorrow because so many drivers are complaining about various problems. It'll be interesting to see what kind of a race we have tomorrow. Rusty Wallace, by the way, comes into this race 8th in the point standings, about 850 points behind Dale Jarrett, who is the leader, and he lengthened his lead over Mark Martin as a result of last week's race at the Glen. Look where the top 10 are starting. Jarrett's okay, so is Mark Martin, but Bobby Labonte back in 19th, Jeff Burton 26th. Tony Stewart will start 37th, Dale Earnhardt 38th, and Terry Labonte 39th. A lot of drivers in the top 10 have poor starting positions for tomorrow's Pepsi 400. The points leader is Dale Jarrett. And for more on that, here is Bill Weber.
Well, Dale Jarrett out on the track right now. They just came in. They made a spring adjustment. They got 4 tires. They sent DJ to the fuel pumps. But crew chief Todd Parrott, in a very politically correct way, said we're one of the teams that are chasing this new tire. Frustration, I think, is the word I'm looking for on behalf of that team right now. So the times are okay, but they're not what they want, and they'll continue to work on it here.
Jarrett will start 3rd tomorrow.
The car looks better right now than any time he's been out on the racetrack, although he's not running as fast as he did when he first went out on new tires when this practice started. But looks like it's getting through the corner a little bit better than he had been the other 2 times he's been out.
Jarrett, of course, dominated the race here at Michigan in June. If he should sweep both races this year, he will join this list. Bobby Labonte, the last to do it in 1995. Elliott and Pearson have done it a couple of times. Cale Yarborough did it in 83, and Bobby Allison in 1971. More Happy Hour from Michigan after this. Bob Jenkins, Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, Bill Weber, and Dr. Jerry Punch back with you at Michigan Speedway. Happy hour about halfway through for the Pepsi 400, which will be run tomorrow afternoon. On board with Jeff Burton. Where do we find him on the speed chart? Well, you'll find him down there in 10th position with a speed of 179.8. Mark Martin still the fastest over Ward Burton and Mike Skinner and Tony Stewart.
See Ward Burton, his fastest lap today in happy hour, a little over 180 miles per hour. He qualified 188 miles per hour. Just goes to show how much the qualifying package, how much faster it is than the race package. You say, well, why don't they run their qualifying package? It doesn't work that way. You do a lot of things for the one lap in qualifying you just simply can't do for the race.
Most of them will use a special qualifying engine, which is looser, a little bit more powerful, but it would not, perhaps wouldn't run 400 miles. And of course, a totally different chassis setup. They qualify on brand new tires, and just a lot of differences there.
And the tape they put on the grill is probably worth 2 or 3 miles per hour because they completely close up the grill, but you have to have that in the race to get some air to the radiator.
Down to Jerry Punch, who's with Jeremy Mayfield.
Well, Jeremy's having similar problems that his teammate Rusty Wallace was having. Jeremy, I know you're making a lot of changes. How does the car feel to you?
Well, loose, just like everybody else, I think, right now. But we're making some changes here. I think we'll be okay. We tried some stuff earlier, didn't really tighten up like we wanted to, but feel like we know the right direction going now.
I heard you and your crew chief Peter Suspenzo talking about just throwing some big things at it, see what kind of direction you need to go in. You have to make that drastic a change?
Yeah, we know what we got right now. We know what we had this morning, and it was pretty good, but just need to be a little tighter, and we're going to try some big stuff and try to get a direction to go in and try to find out which corner we need to be working on.
You've got to find some luck. You haven't had any recently.
I'm telling you, it needs something, don't we? Because this team's a great team, got great engines, and just doing a great job. We just need a little luck going our way, and I think you'll see us up front again.
All right, Jeremy Mayfield qualified 5th, currently 18th overall in speed. Now, I just saw something I have never seen down here during happy hour. A pizza delivery. Some of the crews just ordered a pizza, and they're munching here as they're getting ready to work on it. I guess they got to eat, guys.
Well, you might tell them the BP's ready, so send it up here, too.
Get that phone number, Jerry.
among drivers with at least 5 starts, Jeff Gordon has completed 99.9% of the laps in 13 races. Look who's second on that list. Jeremy Mayfield with 99, and Jimmy Spencer, Wally Dallenbach, and Ernie Irvin also on the list. Jeff has finished all but 2 laps in 13th races. Despite his incredible record here at Michigan, Mark Martin is not on that list. Bill Weber right there.
Well, they continue to work on the Valvoline Ford. Mark is getting new rear shocks here. He said on that last set of shocks, the car started out very good, just got very tight at the end. So they wanted to try another set of rear shocks. They're going to put on new tires, get fuel, and make a long run. Mark says he really wants to be sure that the car has the proper setup. He told his crew, last time I wasn't sure, I ended up with a busted knee and a broken wrist. That would be Daytona. He certainly doesn't want that to happen here. He sounds very confident on the radio talking to his crew. Mark isn't a guy that wastes any words, but he sounds very upbeat. I think he really feels that tomorrow could be his day.
Could very well. Mark knows Michigan Speedway and knows how to get around here, and he is still at the top of the speed chart, but Tony Stewart has moved up to second as he has knocked both Ward Burton and Mike Skinner down a position. There's Rusty Wallace, who is 5th fastest at the moment. Jump on board with him as he goes through the tri-oval here at Michigan. There's a group of cars being led by Jeff Gordon, John Andretti.
There's Ted Musgrave, the 75 car. And here comes Jeff Burton.
Jeff Burton's been out there a while, and he's still running some very good, strong laps. I think he might be pretty happy with his race car, and I think that he's going to be, as he normally is, someone to contend with in the race.
As a matter of fact, Jeff Burton has been the busiest during happy hour. He's completed 1 more lap than Tony Stewart, so it is obvious that Tony is working very hard to get that car in a race mode. Johnny Benson and Mark Martin also have completed 28 laps.
But as soon as Mark gets those fresh tires on his car and gets the thing fueled up, he'll go out and wants to make a long run. So he'll probably end up running 60 or 70 laps before happy hour is over.
Stay with us. We have more coverage of this happy hour from Michigan Speedway prior to tomorrow's Pepsi 400.